Hello everyone, welcome back to Believer Science Academy, Bengaluru. This is NCERT Polity discussion. In today's class, we'll be discussing Polity 7 standard topics. Okay, we are already done with two chapters of this 7 standard, and today we'll be dealing with third chapter of 7th NCERT Polity. The third chapter of this 7th standard is how the state government works. Okay, how the state government works. We have seen about equality in the first chapter, then we have seen what is the role of government in healthcare sector in the second chapter, and in the third chapter we will be discussing about role of state government. Okay, so before we understand this one, we should know that the government in India is three-tier government, that is national, that is central, states, and the local, that is panchayat and local bodies. Okay, these are the three tiers of governance in India. Before we understand further about this, we have to know about certain keywords. These keywords are repeated throughout the chapter. So these keywords are constituency. What is constituency? You might have heard about constituency in newspapers, you might have heard about this in news channels, etc., during the period of election. So the constituency, it refers to a particular area from which all the voters living in these areas choose their representatives. Okay, for example, there is Bengaluru. Within Bengaluru, that is Bengaluru North. This Bengaluru North is considered as a constituency. People living in this Bengaluru North will elect a person to represent them in the state assembly. That is constituency. Okay, the constituency changes. For state elections, a constituency will be taluk. Okay, normally a taluk. For central or parliamentary elections, the constituency will most probably be district. Okay, so that is the basic idea. And what is majority? Majority is a political party whose MLAs have won more than half of the number of constituencies in a state can say to be in the majority. Okay, suppose a state has 272 states. What is the half of 272? What is half of 272? Okay, half of 272 will be 136. Okay, half of 270 will be 136. If suppose a party is getting seats of 137, that party is said to be in majority, and that party is said to be ruling party, and that party is going to be forming a government. Okay, that is majority. And who is considered as opposition party? Opposition party is the elected representatives who are not the members of the ruling party, belong to the opposition party. So in 272 we said 136 is the magic number, 132, 137 is the ruling party, and any other parties, okay, any other parties with members less than 136 are said to be opposition parties. Okay, because they are not the ruling parties and they are present in the state assembly, they are considered as opposition parties. The representatives together play the role of questioning the government and questioning the government decisions and actions. They also raise new issues for consideration in the assembly. Okay, so what they can do is they cannot make any policies because they are not in the ruling party, but what they can do is they can question. Okay, they can scrutinize the government for their policies, they can scrutinize the government on their schemes, on their performances, and on their failures. Okay, and they can also represent the views of minorities and represent the views of people belonging to their constituencies. Okay, what is the ruling party? Ruling party is the political party with the majority. Already discussed this. And what is the press conference? Press conference is the gathering of media persons who are invited to hear about and ask questions on a particular issue and are expected to report on this to the larger public. Okay, so there is government or ruling party, they are bringing a particular policy, and they want more people to know about these policies. Okay, they want people to learn about these policies. How is the government going to achieve this one? Government is going to call a press conference. Okay, in the press conference, the reporters, the medias are allowed to ask the government questions about this policy. Okay, these questions and policies, etc., these discussions will then be shown in the newspapers, news channels, social media, etc., etc. And through this, the public is going to know about the policies. Public is going to know about the positives and negatives, and then there will be wide discussions about these policies. Okay, these are certain vocabulary you should be knowing about this one. Now we'll move on to the main discussion. Okay, so who is an MLA? MLA is a member of Legislative Assembly. He is a member of Legislative Assembly, and he is elected by the people belonging to a particular constituency. A MLA represents a particular constituency and the people belonging to that particular constituency. That MLA is elected by the people belonging to their particular constituency. In this way, he represents people. Every state in India has a legislative assembly. Each state is divided into constituencies. Okay, state, and above the state is nation. Within the state is divided into constituencies. These constituencies will be represented by the people who are going to elect a MLA. Okay, a constituency is an area from which all the voters living in those choose the representatives who then become the member of Legislative Assembly. We will discuss this. So these MLAs belong to different political parties. Okay, those MLAs are political parties whose MLAs have won the majority or more than half of the number of constituencies is said to be in majority, and that political party becomes the ruling party and all the members become the opposition. Then after the elections, the MLAs belonging to the ruling party elect their leader. Okay, the main leader of a political party, that is ruling party, becomes chief minister of that particular state. It is equivalent to prime minister at the national level. Okay, chief minister then selects his MLAs or other people as their ministers. These ministers together are called as council of ministers. Who are these council of ministers? Okay, they are not from outside. These council of ministers are none other than the MLAs. Okay, for certain MLAs, they have a dual role. One role is their representation to the people as an MLA. Another role is the responsibility to the government as a minister. Okay, here as an MLA is part of legislature, and as a minister he becomes executive, non-permanent executive. Okay, then the governor of the state appoints the chief minister and other ministers. Okay, the party is going to decide who will become a chief minister, and the chief minister and party is going to decide who will become the minister. But who is going to appoint these chief ministers and the ministers? It is the duty of governor. Governor is going to ask them to take a particular oath before they become chief minister or before they become ministers. The ministers have different duties, and with respect to duties they also have different officers. For example, a minister of mines will deal with every activity related to mining licenses, etc., etc. Suppose a minister of finance will deal with budgeting, etc., etc. These together they will have a separate offices, he will have a separate offices. Then Some MLAs have dual responsibility, that is one as a MLA and other as a minister. And once the government is elected, once the house is convened, okay, then there will be debate. Where is this debate be normally held? It will be held in the assembly to discuss current problems. During the debate, MLAs can express their opinions and ask questions related to the issue, or can also give suggestions about what should be done by the government. The minister then replies to the question and assures the assembly that adequate steps are being taken regarding to the particular issue. Okay, most probably, most of the times, the MLAs belonging to the ruling party will be in support of the policies taken by the government, and MLAs belonging to the opposing party will be asking questions and scrutinizing the government for their policies. Okay, the chief minister and the other ministers together are responsible to run the government. The word government, it refers to government departments and various ministers who head them. Okay, it is not just the chief minister, it is also the government departments, that is Department of Finance, ministries, etc., and ministers who head these departments. And the MLAs gather together in a legislative assembly, which is called as legislature. We already discussed this. The legislative assembly is not the only place where opinions are expressed about the work of government. Okay, first they'll be discussing the work of government in the legislature, and then there are several newspapers, TV channels, media houses, other organizations which will also be talking about the government. After discussions in the assembly, normally a press conference is generally held by a particular minister who explains the steps being taken by the government, what are the provisions, what are the advantages of this particular schemes. Okay, media persons then report these discussions in several newspapers. Already discussed this. Then the government can also decide to make new laws for the state regarding sanitation and health facilities, related to budgeting, related to every other issues. The various government departments then implement these laws. Okay, so law will be made by the legislature, but the implementation will be done by the executive. Whenever the government fails to satisfy people's needs, they organize meetings to voice their opinions and protest against the government. This is the very essence of democracy. Okay, very essence of democracy. That is, people holding the legislators or the representatives accountable. How are they being held accountable? Through these meetings and through the opinions, through the elections, etc. Then this is about today's class. This is very simple topic. Okay, simple topic, nothing much is there in this one. And apart from this, the very important things are, okay, how the working of constitution. Okay, so the organization of state government includes governors, state legislatures, and state legislative council members. Okay, there is, in certain states there is state legislative assembly which is similar to Lok Sabha, and in certain states they also have state legislative council which is similar to Rajya Sabha. But not all the states will have this one. It is depends on the state's requirement. Every state in India has a legislative assembly, and the duration of legislative assembly is for 5 years. It is mentioned in Article 172. Okay, the head of the state is the governor, head of the state is the governor, and the head of the government is chief minister, consisting of council of ministers. Okay, there should be a distinction between head of the state. Head of the state at the union level is president, but head of the government is prime minister with his council of ministers. Similar thing is there in state also. The leader of the ruling party who forms the government is the chief minister. Then the legislative assembly is a place where leaders debate and discuss on important issues and make important bills. In addition to the legislative assembly, the press conference is also a mode of knowing about what the government does for people. Then the government works through departments like public works department, agriculture department, health department, education department, finance department, railway department, etc. The government has the power to make new laws for the state, regarding health and sanitation. I discussed this one. Laws for the state are made by the state legislative assembly, and laws for the country are made by union parliament. Okay, there are certain laws, there are certain constitution articles which deal with these things. There are certain schedules which deals with this list. For example, 7th schedule, which divides the list into federal list. Okay, within federal there is union list, state list, and concurrent list. Okay, so on the subjects present in union list, the laws will be made by the union government. Subjects present in the state list, laws will be made by the state list, and the subjects present in concurrent list, both the center and the state can make laws on this one. Okay, so this chapter is a very small topic, which is, you might think it is insignificant, but it is very significant. You should have a basic idea about how the state government works. Only then you will be able to understand the working of parliament and other aspects. So if you like the video, then hit the like button, comment on it, and also share with your friends. And if you are new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel and also click on the bell icon so that you don't miss any notification. With this, I will be ending the video. Jai Hind.